So I'm here in Wall Street, and it's basically empty. Wall Street traders are working at home, but make no mistake, they're working.
The S&P 500 and the NASDAQ hit record highs, records in the stock market. March low to a new peak.
This person is Jeff Bezos. He is wealthier than he's ever been.
So how can that be? How can millions of people be out of work, small businesses closing throughout the country, and the stock market be doing so well? Well, here are 4 reasons. First is that when we talk about the stock market, what we're really talking about are indices. So the Dow and the S&P 500. Those indices are made up of the largest publicly traded corporations out there. So when we just talk about the stock market, we're talking about the valuations of those companies. We're not talking about other factors in the economy like wages, the unemployment rate, how many people are actually working. And at a time of crisis like the pandemic, large corporations have handled it better than others. The second reason, tech stocks. So take the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones. We know that that's just the largest publicly traded corporations. But even when you look at the number of the Dow and the S&P 500, it's still disproportionately affected by the largest of the companies. And those companies have done really well during the pandemic. Companies like Apple, Amazon, Facebook, Google, Microsoft. Over the last year, they've gone up 49% in value. The rest of the S&P 500 has stayed flat. So the third reason is speculation, right? When you look at a stock price, it's not just measuring how a company's doing at the moment, there's speculation built in. So take Tesla. Tesla's stock price has gone up 10 times in the last year, but they're not selling 10 times as many cars. People have bought into Tesla with the expectation that it will one day justify that price. So the unemployment rate isn't like that. It's actually the opposite. It's a lagging indicator. So changes in the economy, it takes time for them to manifest itself into the unemployment rate. And on top of that, things that a company can do to cut costs can actually end up boosting a company's stock price, like layoffs. So people can lose their jobs, it can have devastations for them personally and for their communities, but ultimately, a company's stock price might go up. So the fourth reason is inequality. So you could say, okay, yes, we know that the stock market is concentrated in these few tech companies, right? But what about people who own those stocks, whose 401ks, whose pensions are bought into Apple and Amazon and Google stock? And yes, that's true. But we know that stock ownership is highly concentrated among the wealthy. So I'm here right now in what they call Billionaires Row in New York City. And behind me are apartments worth tens and hundreds of millions of dollars. So the people who own these buildings, they own stock. The rest of us, not nearly as much. In the first quarter of 2020, the wealthiest 10% of US households owned 87% of all stocks. And so when the stock market increases the way that it does, it actually can end up widening the gap between the haves and the have-nots. And those aren't the only reasons. There's also the Fed, who has been pouring trillions of dollars into the economy and stimulus. So when you hear someone use the stock market's success as a barometer for the health of the total economy, at a time when millions of people are out of work, ask yourself this: whose economy are they talking about?